Hello everybody, welcome back to the video. In this video I want to tell you guys about the upcoming Genesis weapon liberation changes, what the new process is going to be like, and whether or not you should clear Black Mage before next week's update if you're watching this video within a week of it being uploaded. All of that information will be in this video, and I'm going to make it very easy for you to understand. It's not too complicated on how the liberation changes are, and I'm sure by the end of the video you're going to get it and it'll be free. Of course, if this video helps you out, please consider subscribing because it helps me out so much. Pull up to the live stream where you can talk to me directly in real time, have a good time with us, and of course join the Discord where you can ask any questions about anything you want, and also join the community. With that all being said though, let's get right into it. So right now, this is how the Genesis liberation process works, and I'm going to tell you how it gets changed after the June 11th update. So currently you have to be at least level 255, and then you have to kill Black Mage, and once you kill Black Mage you will get your sealed Genesis weapon. Depending on what class you play, you're gonna get your own weapon. Right now, the whole process of liberation is unsealing this weapon. Now, how do you unseal this weapon? Why do you want to unseal this weapon? Well, you unseal it by killing a bunch of bosses and killing Black Mage, and the reason you want to unseal it is because the weapon is super juiced, has OP skills, effects, and really high stats. So how does that process work right now? Basically, it consists of you having to kill Black Mage and then having to do a boss every single month. So because Black Mage is a monthly clear boss, as you can see here, it says monthly. Basically, it means that all of these missions, you can only complete one every single month. So, for example, Lotus would be 1 month, Damien would be 1 month, Will would be another month, and so on until you reach the end and you get your fully liberated, unlocked weapon. So, what the changes that are coming in the future is, let's start with the weapon itself. You are able to get this weapon just by completing the level 255 story. You don't even have to kill Black Mage. Story mode Black Mage is all you have to do after the June 11th update to get your weapon and start the liberation process. As a matter of fact, you don't even have to kill Black Mage at all. You never even have to do the real boss ever to unlock your Genesis weapon. Now, to be honest with you, in the process of unlocking the weapon, you're probably going to do the boss itself because the boss helps you unlock the weapon much faster. So right now, each mission requires you to kill the Genesis Crux, which is the chest at the end of beating Black Mage. You have to break it, and then that counts as the requirement for completing it. And when you kill the Genesis Crux, it says clear. And then when you beat the boss mission, it also says clear. So for example, if you hover over the eye, it's going to tell you what the mission is. Like for Magnus, you have to solo him. You could only use your weapon in secondary, and you deal half damage. So it makes the boss a lot harder. For Damien, you have to do him alone, but you only have 5 lives instead of 10. So that's what these missions are like. But each mission corresponded with a Genesis Crux, which we mentioned before, can only be cleared once a month. So they're completely changing that. They're making it so that the missions look like this now, where you're gonna have the boss mission, but now there's a meter that you have to fill up, either to 500 or to 1000 depending on the mission. So instead of having to clear Black Mage every single month and then that meets the requirement, you just have to fill up this gauge. Now, how do you fill this up? The way that you fill it up is by clearing bosses every single week. So everything from normal Lotus, Su in Korean is Lotus for us. So everything from normal Lotus all the way up to hard Vihilla, and everything in between. So hard Dark now, hard Will, Chaos Gloom, normal Lucid, normal Will. All of these bosses give you a certain amount of points. And as you clear these bosses every single week, it's going to fill up this gauge. And whenever you fill up the gauge and clear the boss mission, you can proceed to the next mission. It's not locked behind monthly Black Mage clears. It's just dependent on how fast you fill this gauge. Now, something that's very important is this right here. When you defeat a boss, the traces of darkness will be divided and extracted evenly based on the number of people who enter the boss. So for example, let's say you do hard Vihilla and you duo it because you're not strong enough to solo. You're only going to get 45 points per clear instead of the full 90 points. So the stronger you are, the faster you can liberate your weapon, because if you're strong, you can clear all of these bosses solo. Even Black Mage himself gives you 600 points, which obviously fills up this meter and the next meter a little bit too. It gives you a ton of points. As a matter of fact, there's also this calculator here, which of course I'll have this link down below. I'll also have the Orange Mushroom blog link down below as well, where you can use this calculator to see how fast you can liberate based off of how many bosses that you can clear. So for example, there's a Genesis Liberation tab. I'm going to press here, quest in progress. So let's say I'm right at the beginning, right? So I'm on the Von Leon quest and I just started it. But let's say my character is not super strong, but he's pretty strong. So I could do hard Lomian, but let's say I have to duo all of these other bosses, right? And then I clear Black Mage in a full party because I just want to run with my friends, right? So how long will this all take me to liberate? If you press calculate, it says 21 weeks, which is a little bit more than 5 months. So this alone is already significantly faster than the 8 months that it takes to liberate right now, pre-Stargazer patch. And getting to this level of funding is really not that hard. This is like anywhere between 20 to 30 mil CP for a lot of people, and you could still liberate with just like 5 months. And this is from the start. This isn't like in the middle of it. This is literally just from the start. It would take you around 5 months. So I would say at the slowest for most people, they would be able to liberate within at least 5 months. Probably a lot faster because within those 5 months, you'll most likely get stronger. Let's say you practice Gloom, you start soloing Gloom. Let's say you start doing all of these bosses solo, and then Black Mage, let's say you trio it or something with a couple friends. You split the party. All of a sudden now it's a 12-week liberation and takes 3 months. So if you have characters that are stronger, or if you're somebody who already has a very funded account and you have really strong boss meals, then this liberation process will be even faster. So for example, my Demon Slayer here is on the Lotus quest. So how long will it take my Demon Slayer to clear? Typically, I would need another 4 to 5 months or something of doing all these quests and bosses if I were to continue pre-patch, right? So let's see how it is post-patch. I'm just going to need another 9 weeks, so just a little bit more than 2 months, and now I can liberate. So instead of waiting like 5 months now, I would just need another about 2 months, which is crazy. It's significantly faster now how it works. Now, something that I've been getting asked literally every single day on my stream is whether or not people should clear Black Mage now, as in before the Stargazer patch, or after the Stargazer patch. What's better? Should I do it now or should I do it later? So it depends on where you're at in your liberation. So I would say for most people, you would want to do it before the patch. Now, the reason for that is because if you clear Black Mage before the patch, after the patch, you will get a full meter no matter where you're at in the liberation. So for me, if I don't do Black Mage on this character who's on the Lotus quest right now, after the patch, it's not going to say Genesis Crux anymore. It's going to say 0 out of 1,000. And then I still have to kill Lotus. But if I do it before the patch, the Genesis Crux is going to become a full gauge after the patch, which is really good because if you remember, doing Black Mage solo after the patch is only 600 gauge. But if it goes and fills up, it's going to be the full 1,000. So I actually get a lot more value. Now, you might have noticed that these first 3 quests, Von Leon, Arcarium, and Magnus, are only 500. And in this picture here, it says 500. Now, the 500 meter is only for the first 3 quests. Once you get to Lotus, it turns into 1,000 gauge that you need to fill up every single time. But Black Mage is 600. So basically, if you're not on the first 3 quests, you want to do Black Mage before the patch. It would be way better because it's going to fill you up to 1,000. But if you do it after the patch, you're only going to get 600 if you solo. And if you do it in a party, it's going to be split even more amongst that. So a lot of people, it's only going to be 300 or 200 or even 100 if you do it in a full party. Now, there is a circumstance where you should do Black Mage after the patch. Now, the only circumstance that you should do Black Mage after the patch is if you can solo Black Mage, but you happen to be on the first 3 quests, which I think almost no one is in that position, except for me, to be honest with you. I just so happen to have my Lara in that exact perfect position where I could do Black Mage now, which will fill up my gauge, but since I'm on the Magnus quest, it's only going to fill it up to 500, right? Or I can wait until after the patch where this becomes a 0 out of 500 gauge. Then I solo Black Mage on my Lara because my Lara is more than strong enough to do it, and I've done it before on my Lara. And then I would get 600 gauge, which would be better than the instant 500 if I were to do Black Mage now. So if you happen to have a character like this that's pretty strong and could solo Black Mage and happens to be on the first 3 bosses, Von Leon, Arcarium, and Magnus, then sure, do Black Mage after the Stargazer patch. And it has to be solo. I want to make that absolutely clear. It has to be solo. But I would say the vast majority of other people who are in the process of liberating their weapon probably aren't able to solo Black Mage within the first few quests. So that's how the new Liberation works. Just to summarize real quick, it's going to get turned into a gauge that you have to fill up. You fill up the gauge by clearing your bosses. The amount of traces you get from each boss is split based off how many party members you have. So the stronger you are, the faster you'll liberate. Of course, use the calculator. I'll have it linked below so you can see exactly where you are in your liberation and how long it's going to take. One final question that I get asked as well is what happens if you red dot black mage? Because right now how the system works is even if I were to do literally 0 damage in black mage, I literally just AFK and do nothing, it would still count as a Genesis Crux clear and I'm able to proceed to the next quest if I do the boss, right? So what happens after the patch? Can you still red dot black mage and get traces for it? Now, nobody actually knows for sure because this system came out in the Korean server where they don't have the red dot, green dot, blue dot system because Reboot was already removed from the game. Now, if somebody were to put a gun to my head and say, are you going to get traces if you red dot? And I have to answer no matter what, I would say probably. I would say probably, and then I'd get murked. Now, the reason why I think it's probably is because it still says when you defeat a boss, the traces of darkness will be divided and extracted evenly based on the number of people who entered the boss. So I feel like even if you do literally 0 damage, the traces are still going to get distributed evenly amongst everybody. So if you can find somebody to carry you black mage or you trade black mage and you have a weak ass character, then you probably can get at least 300 points from it because the points are split. But to be honest with you, most people probably won't even red dot. Like, it's not that hard to at least blue dot and black mage, to be honest with you. Like, you have a lot of time in there and you could do it on characters that are way weaker than you might think. But anyways, that's besides the point. But that's how the system works. Obviously, if you have any questions, leave a comment down below. Join the Discord as well. If you have questions, come to the live stream. And of course, subscribe if you enjoyed the video, if you learned something. Look forward to many, many, many more videos about the upcoming patch and everything like that. And I appreciate you guys so much for watching. Have a wonderful day. Shout out to my members, Blazefire, Shooms, Shagad, Ravi Espa, Koga, Skittles, Dante Victory, CK, Jay, Kyle, Vampiric X, Fresh and Juicy, Assassin, Henzo, Henrique, and Kelvin. I appreciate you guys so much, and thank you everybody who submitted fan art. You can always submit it in the Discord and it'll be put at the end of every video. Thank you for watching. Have a wonderful day.